Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. We see Palantir Technologies that continues to skyrocket, really absolutely soaring right now to new all-time highs, closing here at $55.50 and basically at $56, including the after hours. Now, this comes after the news of the president-elect being nominated, on top of the anticipation for federal interest rate cuts that could be happening tomorrow with the announcement. On top of that, we also have many analysts that are starting to raise their price targets for Palantir, and there's a lot of things to unpack. So if you are a new or returning viewer, I urge you to hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, and of course, not a financial advisor, collecting all the data and dispatching it to you. Thank you guys so much for supporting a smaller content creator. I love getting the daily news out that you guys need to hear. Now, Palantir Technologies, pop it up at the screen here, closing at $55.53. Like I said, doing very well. What we see right now is a lot of price discovery happening. Where is Palantir going to cool off? How far is this run-up going to go? These are all things that are very unpredictable depending on, the volatility that's happening in the general market. Nonetheless, we do have volume that's still over 100 million, so a lot of buying pressure coming in, as we saw. Yesterday, we even saw like 150 million in terms of volume. Buying pressure, a lot of attention right now, focusing eyes on Palantir, and I'm talking about why this is one of the big key player stocks for the future. Now, looking at the options right here for end of the week expirations, we do see a decent amount of calls at the 56, at the 57, you can see here 30,000, 20,000 respectively, but also a lot of puts. We could be expecting a little bit of a coolback. We've seen an enormous increase in price and market capitalization in just the last 2 days. Is there going to be a little bit of a pullback? When is that going to happen? We don't know. Be ready for that, though. But talking about Palantir, why this specific Wall Street veterans are really calling Palantir a champion. Now, as we know, they joined the S&P 500 last month, really boosting their full year guidance that we saw with the recent Q3 earnings. Things have all been aligning. The stars have been aligning perfectly for Palantir. And an interesting quote right here, how every once in a while, from the realms of high-tech startups, low-price stocks, and scoffed-at enterprises ridiculed for being overvalued or misunderstood, rises a new champion. Every once in a while, a company or stock like Palantir is crowned such a champion. That is a very powerful statement, because Palantir is always ridiculed for being very overvalued, and we're seeing them prove against everybody that's been ridiculing them, the bearish perspective. They just say, hey, wait until you see what we can produce. And that's what's happening right now. They are bringing the proof in the pudding. We're seeing the momentum that is bringing Palantir to these new all-time highs recently on a daily basis, which is quite insane. Now, of course, what we've seen, Palantir, as we know, lots of growth. We can talk about the numbers. Nonetheless, Alex Karp came out and said that they eviscerated the recent quarters. One big thing on specifically what's going on for Wednesday today. Now, Palantir's really rise in terms of analysts that are starting to raise their price targets here. You have Northland Capital right here raising their price targets from 35 to 38. And one of the big Palantir bulls that's always been out there, and it's been pretty right on his predictions and his price targets, is Dan Ives. A lot of people know him, Wedbush out here, maintaining an outperform rating in the stock, actually raising his price targets from $45 to $57. Palantir sits right underneath that level right now, talking about a robust quarterly results, featuring beats across the board and a continued acceleration and deal of momentum to the company's AI platform. Also, on top of that, you also have the broader markets. The economy has a lot of money inflowing to it in terms of market capitalization across the board, with the president-elect right here talking about reaching and pricing in, reacting to potential shifts in policy that could come with a second Trump presidency, including tax cuts and changes to the trade tariffs. We'll be talking about some of that, and especially with what's been happening in the market today. Now, specifically, what we do have right now as we speak, our stock futures are changing a little bit after we do have this post-election rally. If we look over here at the markets, you see the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, Dow Jones up 3.5%. The markets concluded today that we basically had one of the biggest one-day stock market gain in 2 years. And this is causing the market to go into an overdrive that we saw today, making it really one for the history books. Now, we have the biggest winners in the companies right here. You're seeing bank stocks, JP Morgan Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, rallying on this promise of lower taxes and less regulations. You also see the small cap, the Russell 2000 index, a lot of people have been tracking that, includes some regional banks soared nearly 6%, saying it was the biggest day and the biggest surge for the US dollar since 2020. On top of that, we'll be talking about Tesla here in just a little bit, rocketing up nearly 15% on its own. Now, what's going to be happening tomorrow? What is the shift focusing on? That is going to be the actual interest rate decision from the Federal Reserve that is coming out Thursday afternoon. I told you guys this is going to be a volatile week. We're seeing that right in front of our face. We're seeing crypto on top of that jumping as part of this post-election advance along with other several international funds. Now, the results are in. We know that. Now let's face with that reality. We can see the markets might be breathing a little bit without concern over what's going to be happening with prolonged election and political uncertainty. Now there's actually just been a decision made, regardless of which side it is, that is past us now. So we know what that answer is going to be, anticipating what those different types of policy changes could come in terms of a monetary policy change, but also looking at the interest rate decision. Right now, Jerome Powell's press conference, funds futures are currently pricing in a 100% likelihood that the central bank is actually going to lower the borrowing costs at the gathering. This would mark the second straight Fed decrease in September, which is the first since 2020. So having a second straight rate cut, this has not happened for 4 years. Even though the economy is producing a lot of resiliency that we've seen recently, stocks are doing very well. We've seen good economic numbers in terms of inflation. Fed funds futures are currently pricing in 100% likelihood. If there was any change to that, that's where we could see a large change in the actual market expectations. In reality, we could see a little bit of a pullback. But nonetheless, with another 25 basis point cut, that could be very bullish for people trying to get in on lower rates in terms of lowering the federal funds rate, like mortgage rates, because those typically follow. It will be interesting to see what happens to housing affordability in the next coming years, especially with any type of policy change and what's going to be happening with overall cost of living types of affordability. In addition, Tesla right here soaring more than 14% as the president-elect, boosting Elon Musk's electric vehicle company. And what's really particularly interesting here is when we typically have a Republican nomination in office, we see less incentivized and subsidiaries for EV vehicles. But Tesla stands out to actually make a significant gain under this administration, and that is because with a threat of diminished subsidies for alternative and electric vehicles doing the most harm to smaller competitors. They are planning, remember, for a lot of tariffs coming in, affecting Chinese imports, actually making it less likely that you're going to see Chinese EVs being sold in bulk to the US anytime soon if they are going to have to pay a very large fee. On top of that, Tesla already has a large scale and a scope that is unmatched. I'd agree with AP right here, talking about, and even Dan Ives coming out with a statement, coupled by China tariffs, this pushes away different competitors, and also the different competitors talking about the subsidiaries that Americans get right now with purchasing EVs. Tesla is isolated from a lot of that competition and dominates sales of electric vehicles with 48.9% right now in market share through the middle of 2024. For the clean energy part of the Inflation Reduction Act right here, talking about tax credits for manufacturing along with tax credits for consumers of electrical vehicles, we could possibly see changes in what these credits are. And that's where Tesla does have a big competitive advantage in terms of the EV industry. Now, what do you think about everything happening in the markets right now with Palantir? Do we see the price that's going to stabilize here in the 55s? We're going to see it go to 60. You're going to see it come back. What are your predictions down in the comments? What are your predictions for the market, the federal funds rate, Tesla, everything that we talked about in this video? Peace out. Take care. I'll catch you guys later. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you've made it to the end, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe. And I can't thank you guys enough for watching these daily videos, always dispatching the important data to you. Peace out.